it on? It's on. Hey, look, we're on, Roger.
Hey, it's working.
It's working. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my. How are you feeling today, by the way?
Really good.
Yeah.
Thanks for asking. Yep, really good.
Yeah. So, you decided to hang around with me today.
Well, I actually came in to see my daughter, take her and her husband out for dinner, but I thought I might as well hang with you while they're working. So,
Might as well.
profitable day. Learned some really good things.
I'm going to start driving. Hopefully, I can drive and chew gum at the same time. Anyway, yeah, we had a pretty good day. So what did we do? The first job. Let's talk about the first job today.
Those chairs.
Did 4 chairs, and I actually did a really short video of me doing one of the arm covers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was
the really interesting part of the whole job.
the arm covers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so how I did them.
Well, that's how you showed me. Remember, you showed me how to put under the light, so you could see where the wear was.
Oh yeah. Oh, tell me about that.
So there's 4 chairs, so 8 arm covers, and 2 of the chairs were used way more than the other 2. And the one arm cover pretty looked dark. And so I was asking about it if he's going to go over it again or use maybe a different pre-spray just to try some things on it. And he took it over to a pot light that was on the little ledge there above the fireplace and held it at a different angle. And you could just see that darkness really was wear, it wasn't dirt, because depending on which way you held it, it looked like the other ones.
Looked beautiful, didn't it?
Yeah. I wish you could do it with carpet. That'd be so cool.
I've done it on carpet.
Just pick it up and hold. No.
Well, I've got my spotlight. I got a 100-watt spotlight, and I can do that. I actually got to show that one day. I did that with a customer a couple weeks ago. They called me over to look at a wool Berber carpet, and it was 18 months old. And they were concerned about the traffic lane that was appearing, and they thought that maybe because they had some workmen in the house, that's what was causing it. And I walked in there and looked at it, and I thought, nope, I don't think that's soil. So I went and got my 100-watt floodlight, and I plugged it in the hallway, and I pointed it straight down the carpet and turned it on, and the dark appearance just totally disappeared. Quite shocking, you know. And I said, you know, what I pointed out to them was that if this was soiling, we would actually see it would look more obvious. You'd actually see it.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, I was thinking about that when I was downstairs on this last job, because in that area over to the other side where the suite was, I don't know if you noticed, there was a place there where obviously the chair had been sitting.
Yes.
And you saw that dark patch in the middle.
Yeah.
Now, what was interesting is that when we went down there, the blind was wide open, and the sunlight was shining on the carpet, but you could see that dark spot. You could see the actual outline of the soil. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Well, I looked at that and I thought, that reminded me of the light trick. And and so what I did is I went and I closed the blind, which made it much more easy for me to see the actual staining on the carpet, and then I cleaned it, and it came up fantastic. And I got all that actual soil out. So now if you take a light and you shine it on that spot, that darker patch would actually disappear. So that's how it works, and it's understanding how the optics work when you're cleaning a carpet, that sometimes you're trying to clean out a wear patch on the carpet, or even on the furniture for that matter, and sometimes but you got to know how to tell the difference, and you kind of get an eye for that, I guess. So, but those were that took us a little while to do those 4 chairs. Mind you, we were goofing off.
Well,
a little bit.
And I wasn't doing anything.
Well, that's true.
You were doing all the work.
Yeah.
I was talking to the lady about stuff.
Yeah, he was just blabbering away and twiddling his thumbs and trying to critique me. But those were it took us it did take us a little while to do them, but they were they weren't really the difficult chairs to do, but
it was about an hour and a half too.
Was that about an hour and a half? Oh yeah. Well, this wasn't bad for $500, and she was really happy to pay it, you know. And they did come up really nice, because those were pretty expensive chairs. So, anything else interesting on that job for you?
Well, other than the painting on the wall, that was interesting.
Oh yeah, he went talking about he goes off talking to the lady about her paintings.
Well, you know what? If you show genuine interest in somebody's furnishings, they love that. No, she went in the bedroom, picked out the other one.
Maybe she did.
But I really did admire the painting, and I recognized that the painting was a kind of like a, what would call it, a watercolor, paint by number watercolor of her outside view of out her window at the lake, and I recognized the shape of it. So she had said, yeah, she'd commissioned someone to do that. Was explaining how cheap it was, and how it was a Canadian artist, which is always a big hit around here.
Yep.
But it's not a long time. It's just a sincerely admiring what they've done, and people really appreciate that.
Well, it's true. Yeah, having the opportunity when you're in the home to show interest in what is interesting to the customer is actually part of the PR. I mean, you don't want to go overboard about it and waste your time, as it were. But you do want to be able to have that rapport with your customer and show that you're genuinely interested in what they're interested in. That is important. You're right about that. So then what did we do?
Can't remember. What was the other one? It was there were stairs.
There were stairs. Yeah.
Stairs and one room down, and it was crazy. Can't remember.
That was the area rugs. They walked in and the area rug at the front door and area.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and there was that bad stain on the one downstairs.
Yeah, the one black mark.
Yeah. And she had tried to get it out repeatedly, couldn't get it out.
I was really happy to hear her say that, because I go, man, we're going to get that out. I could just tell by looking at it, that was going to come out.
You pulled out the scissors. Snap, snip, snip, snip. I can get that out for you, ma'am. No, I'm just kidding. You didn't do that.
And it's so important to recognize what is their chief concern. Because we did the one area rug downstairs, and she pointed out that one mark. Mm-hmm. And when she went down, she's like, it looks fantastic.
Yeah, she went, yeah,
because that one thing was really bothering her.
That was the thing.
It really stood out on the whole carpet.
Yeah.
And so you have to find out what those things are. And luckily, she told us in advance.
Yeah. Yes. But that was a pretty decent job again. There was two pretty big area rugs, and then the smaller one at the front door, and then the master bedroom, and then a set of stairs. So again, in an hour and a half or so.
Yeah.
And again, filling up the vacuum pretty much, I guess, because there was cat. Remember they had cats there. That makes a big difference too.
Yeah, the one spot on the stairs, you could tell where the cat had been laying because it was all piled in the corner.
Oh yeah.
With fur.
And you did the steps, so I assume you got that all out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what did we do? We were just there.
This is the last job.
The last job. That's good. And that was pretty straightforward, I guess. The family room in the back, bedroom, master bedroom upstairs, and steps, and then the big area downstairs. And tell them about the big spot downstairs now.
Yeah, it looked like somebody had taken a big old-fashioned one of those metal tubs, but round, not square, and put it on there. It was a big round gray area on this Berber carpet.
Yeah.
And they had no idea what it was because it was there when they moved in.
And they've been there for a long time, and they haven't never been able to get it out. So.
And the carpet was really worn.
Yeah, that was
not too often you see a Berber in that rough a shape.
Well, she said it was the house was built in '92, I think she said.
Okay.
So that's how old the carpet was. So. And we got it out, and again, that was her main concern, and I actually have that happen quite a lot, where people say, I've got a stain, it's been here for years, I was here when I moved here, and I've had the carpet cleaned 2 or 3 times, nobody's ever been able to get it out, and then almost every single time I get it out, no problem.
Because you know how wash tractors do, right? They pre-spray, and they hit it with the heat, and they might, I used one spotter for grease. And oil, and that's all they carried with me.
Oh.
I had a whole spotting kit, but there's no way I was going to go upstairs, grab that, come down, because I never pre-vacuumed, right? So I didn't know what I was getting until I got there. Oh, yeah. Terrible. I hate to admit that, but that's
were a bad boy.
The prices I was charging. That's all I had time for. Mm-hmm. Either this is going to take it over or not, and that was it.
Well, yeah, I do run into that a lot where even stains that really should be easily removed, I think, I find that the hot water extractor guys are just leaving them behind. And you're right, probably they maybe they've got some kind of a spotter or whatever that would work, but they just don't bother. It's like, too much of a hassle to run back to the van 100 feet away.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Well, it's time, right? You're just rushing. That's one thing I like with this. You're not rushing. You can go in, casually survey the job, convince with them a bit, ask them really good, pertinent questions to show that you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you bring everything to the door, so you never have to go back in the van.
Yeah, of course. Tell them about my spotting tray.
Your spotting tray.
Yeah, the tray with the spotting stuff.
How big it is?
What have I got in there? Pretty much everything, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I got about 8 or 9 different spotters in there for little bottles, trigger sprayers or whatever, and for every possible scenario, basically. And I usually only use like 2 or 3 at the most, but I've got like the Haitian is something I actually pull out quite a bit, and I got my VDS, and I got my orange gel, a couple of water-based spotters, the L-Rug and in the ink, and Argo Sheen. I still have Argo Sheen left, which is an excellent spotter. I think I got something else in there too. Oh, and of course the Proxy. And, I have basically I've got my water-based spotters, and then I got my for water-based stains or stains that are soluble in water, and then I got a couple of different things for dealing with oils and things like that. I even have a little can of Goof Off. You ever use that?
Not on carpets.
It actually works pretty well, and there's a Goof Off carpet for spotting.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
did not know that.
it actually works pretty well. It's I use it when I have to. I don't really like using it if I can avoid it because I don't like the odor that it has, but sometimes it works really well. It does actually really work well on paint. So
It just triggered something in my mind. I was going to ask you about this a while ago. Isopropyl alcohol.
yes,
I got some, 90%.
yeah,
And I've been seeing guys on some YouTube channels using it.
yes,
And I thought, well, it probably can't hurt the carpet, and it'd be a good one to use. Because I was doing a hotel one time, and then these work guys had stayed over for a week, and there's these black marks, the greasy marks that didn't come out with my regular degreaser. And so then I tried another degreaser I happen to have, because I used to buy all kinds of stuff, and it worked.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first time I really realized a degreaser is not just a degreaser. There's different chemical makeups of these things, and some work better than others in certain situations. You never know, so it's good to have more than one.
it's true.
And so I thought that might be a good one to. Because the VDS stuff you have, that's amazing.
Yes.
It's taking out stuff that.
Do you have some?
No,
Not anymore.
it's like $100 a bottle or something. You're talking.
$100 a bottle. Yeah.
Yeah, I never did have any.
Yeah.
The guy I bought the equipment from
Oh.
that you showed me, he didn't have any.
Oh, I thought you did.
Well, he did. He didn't sell it to me.
No, he would have sold it to you. I don't think he did have any. Back to the isopropyl alcohol. I actually carry some in the van. I don't have it in my spotter tray. It will work on certain types of ink, for sure. I've used it on ink and had the ink just disappear, like now. So it does have certain applications. Some guys have used it where they actually mix it in their pre-spray, along with their ammonia and peroxide and those sort of guys. The idea being that the isopropyl alcohol will help to will accelerate dry time because it is more evaporative, right? However, again, if you take a look at what the effects are of long-term exposure to even small amounts of isopropyl alcohol, like putting someone on a cotton swab and rubbing someone's arm when they're going to give you a needle, that's not the same as aerosoling it into the air and inhaling the fumes from it, because again, it's one of those things that is actually not wise to be exposing yourself to over the long run. Even small amounts over the long run repeatedly is actually not a good idea.
Well, especially on aerosol form.
But that's what I'm saying, is if you're vaporizing it into the air and you're actually breathing it, that's a whole lot different than having some on a cotton swab and putting it on a cut or whatever, you know what I mean? That's a whole other story. Should you have it on the van? Yeah, you probably should, because occasionally there might be a situation where that's the answer. But it's one of those things that you won't use very often, but sometimes you might. And there's actually, as it turns out, there's many different products now. Here we are. If you go back 10 years ago, we have more choices now than we did 10 years ago. It's constantly improving, and more green products coming on the market too. And I'm going to give a plug for my buddy Tim Yeater right here, because he's got a brand new product coming that he's just produced called Silver Solution.
Yeah.
And it's a zero health rating cleaner. So we've got another zero health rating cleaner on the market, and there have been guys that have been using it, trying it out, and just raving about how well it works. So the future is in. This is where the future is for this industry. That we are able to actually make products and have products that we are using that are with a zero health rating. You can't get better than that. Water is zero, for crying out loud. So not that you would drink it, because it's not meant to be drunk, but nevertheless, what it means is that it is as safe as you can possibly get, and we need to be considering that all the time, and avoiding using things that have noxious odors, and we'll put chemistry into the air that we are inhaling, particularly if we're spraying it and aerosoling it, and you do that for weeks, months, and years on end, then you are actually going to be creating an environment that inevitably there will be some health issues that you will have to address. You don't want to be that guy that 60 years old walking around with an oxygen bottle on because you screwed your lungs up because you were stupid and didn't heed the warnings that certain things such as ammonia, breathing it every day. What did they say? Paul at Washington Pro had posted that thing where it was stated that constant or daily inhalation of minimal amounts of ammonia every day is the equivalent of, in 20 years, is the equivalent of, causes the damage equivalent to smoking 16 cigarettes a day to your lungs. Why would you do this on purpose?
Yeah.
Isn't that silly?
Especially when there's alternatives.
No, that's exactly. Well, why would you do that? It's cheaper. Well, what's your health worth?
Is it that much cheaper though?
Well, no, it's not that much cheaper. And besides that, your expenses are right off anyway. I mean, it's stupid. Literally, if you're making money and you're being honest about what the money you're making, you need to have write-offs. And one of those write-offs is, and is your smallest expense, would be your chemistry. I bought a carton of 24 of Nanomax before Christmas, I think. Yeah, it's like I've had it for like 3 months or so, 4 months. I was just finishing off my previous one, so I just started using it, and I've been pretty busy actually. So, and what is it for the carton? $2.50 or something?
I can only afford 12 at a time. I'm not, in the market you are in.
Oh, okay.
I
bought a
bank knows you first name basis.
Well, how many were 12? Do you remember? You remember?
I think they're $24 a bottle.
Yeah, it's not that expensive.
Somewhere like there.
And they last a long time.
1 ounce a gallon. It's, 1 ounce a gallon. It goes
to yelp about spending a few dollars a day on chemistry is ridiculous. In fact, I would guess that in an average day, I bet, and you see the kind of volume of work that I do, I bet I spend between $5 and $10 a day in chemistry. That's nothing in the big picture. We're crying out loud. I spend more on my lunch.
Yeah, and that's like when I whined about how much the Beckert CO2 powder was.
Yeah,
$400 to get here.
Yeah,
but the actual cost of it was just over 100 or something.
I know,
The rest
it's
was
ridiculous. The
Exchange, shipping, and duty, and all that.
Yeah.
And yet, you can't do the business without it.
And have you noticed how long it's lasting?
Yeah.
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 Like I actually ended up buying 2 jugs of it, and I'm only halfway through my first one, and I've been using it for over a year.
Yeah. And now they know how to charge for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I could do one or 2 jobs and pay for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Just an extra.
Yeah, that's exactly. And you could
surcharge.
Exactly, when you're dealing with a urine scenario like that, you're going to charge extra for it, and if you're not, well, you're being really basically, leaving money on the floor, as it were.
Well, it's not. I never had the confidence before until you started showing me some of the stuff you do, so that I had the confidence that I can do that, and when you come across with that, people will pay you for it because no one else is saying
That's right. Yeah.
and that's worth something.
Oh, by the way, before we go too much further, where am I going exactly?
All the way out of town.
Other side of town and
Yeah.
up behind Sexsmith?
No, the next one down, Edwards. Not Edward. Between Sexsmith and Edward, there's a turnoff road.
On the left?
On the left, yeah. It's going to be a nightmare to get out of there later.
Okay.
Everything converges into one little road.
Oh. We're going to pick up some pressure lines.
Never thought you'd hear us say that.
You never thought you'd... yeah, no kidding, eh? When's the last time you had a pressure line? Oh, yeah. That's right. I haven't used that's a bit of a joke there for you guys, or wondering what we're talking about, because I haven't used a hot water extraction machine for decades. Yeah. Yes, I actually did operate a truck on it one time, but no, it's been a long time. So I haven't used a pressure line for a very long time now. Very long time. But I did buy my little Esteem hot water extractor machine. So I needed to get an extended hose for it. Yes, I did see that. This is this intersection is very important to me. We're at an intersection. Just stopped red light. He's pointing at the red light there. I got rear-ended here with this van.
Really?
Yeah, I pulled up to a stop. This is a funny story, but true. I pulled up to a stop right here where we're sitting right now. And as I stopped, I looked in the mirror behind me, and I saw this vehicle coming up behind me. And I thought, I don't think she's going to stop. And she didn't. And she hit me good and hard. Bam! And I went way down to the middle of the intersection. And man, was I mad. I have never been so angry. I must have. I was so mad. It felt like my head was going to blow off. But I got out of the van, and it's like, I was so mad. But I walked over to the vehicle where she was sitting. She's kind of sitting there all dazed and everything. And I said, "Are you okay?" She said, "Yeah, I think so." And I was like, "Okay." And I didn't say anything else to her. I didn't dare speak to her. I was so angry. It's like I was afraid what I was going to say to her. It's like, "Ugh." And she caved in the back door and messed up the back bumper and everything. But the door, unfortunately, wasn't bad enough that it wouldn't close or anything, so I could still use the van. But anyway, the door was pushed in and everything, and so they replaced the whole door and the back the bumper thing cover or whatever. And that was almost 10 years ago now. So little segue there, eh? And and I can't remember whether I asked her. I don't think I asked her this, but I think the cops told me afterwards. I asked them, so why did she say she ran into me? Like, I was actually stopped at the red light. I said, why did she do that? And they said, oh, she said she was reading the back of your van. Like, okay. Well, I hope she doesn't call me, because I don't really want to see her again. I was pretty mad. Oh, boy. Pretty funny story, sort of. That's, I've been rear-ended like 3 times. In this van once, and Linda in her car, we got rear-ended once there. Just a little bump, fortunately. Little tiny damage. And in my other, way back when I was in Victoria, same sort of thing happened. I was stopped. There's a vehicle in front of me that stopped. I can't remember what exactly. And this vehicle behind me just bashed right into the back of the van. So, what do you know, eh? So, anyway, carpet cleaning. Wow, eh? So, anything else exciting you want to share with our fans?
Fans?
We got people actually like watching our little interactions here. Heckle and Jekyll, eh?
Your mom?
Huh?
Your mom? You talking about your mom now?
No.
No.
No, my mom doesn't watch my stuff.
The only fan I can think of.
No.
Watch us.
Mom.
No, for those who are starting out like I am, still a year later, always afraid about the price. I did a repeat customer's place. I did her place last March with low moisture, and I did her place again, and I'm sure I charged her, more appropriately this time. It was $400 for an hour and a half, but the difference was I did her area rug, and I've always been afraid to charge appropriately for area rugs.
Yeah.
But I got smarter after talking to you last time, and I told her what my price per square foot was before I measured it up.
Yeah.
So then when I measured up, it was just a natural segue into the price of it.
Right.
And it still baffles me that for a synthetic area rug, people are going to charge what they charge compared to a synthetic carpet that's wall to wall. And generally, they're not as bad. So, but that's what happens in the industry. That's the standard that's been set. So people accept it. I just have never really taken advantage of that.
No. When I was, I actually, 10 years ago, I made a disastrous decision, and I actually attempted to move to Winnipeg, or well, actually out of Winnipeg, but was going to operate in Winnipeg. It's a long story, and don't need to go into the details of all that, but it was a very bad idea. But what was interesting is when I was doing a little bit of market research in Winnipeg, I was phoning around to different carpet cleaners that were there, and I wanted to get an idea of what their price points were at. And I asked them things like, what would you charge for a 9x12 wool area rug? I said, I have a wool 9x12 area rug. What are you going to charge me? Didn't tell them what would you charge if I was one of your customers, but I'm not. But anyway, I had some of those guys there in Winnipeg telling me that they were going to charge $20.
Wow.
Isn't that incredible? I was just absolutely amazed, and there wasn't just one guy that was saying that. Like, we were talking like 20 and 30 bucks. They were, yeah, I'll come with 20 or 30 bucks. I'm thinking, you guys are out of your minds. But it's that's a whole other market. And that's one of the things I learned when I went out there. It was like I was like the bug on the windshield. It was like that. And I went around to like 15 different property management companies, and I got nothing. They weren't even interested in looking at me. And because in that particular case, one of the reasons was because in that city, it's a very cliquey scenario. It's weird, but they've got in the city they've got one area's they literally have an area where most of the Polish people are, and there's the Polish community hall. You got another area here where all the German people are, and there's all the and there's the German community place, and then the Chinese place over here, and the Ukrainians over there, and the Russians over there. I mean, literally, there's like these communities throughout the city because there's a lot of people that are immigrating from Europe, and I don't know why, but for some reason, they all seem to be going to Winnipeg, and they tend to go into their community thing, the community. What's the right word I'm looking for? Society or whatever, and
Cultural center.
So yeah, it's kind of a social thing or whatever, and I guess but it made it. I realized after I got there, that this was going to be a very, very hard place to break into the market, and in the end, I was only there for a few months, and it was a total waste. Oh, what a disaster! But anyway, maybe one day I'll tell that story. So. I guess one thing I did learn out of that is every market is different, and you do have to understand your market. And in my particular case here, I do understand this market, and and I think that's pretty obvious how we have done here is understanding how to market and how to what clientele that we are focused on, because we do focus on a specific clientele, as you probably noticed. We don't do a lot of well, put it this way, most of my customers don't shop at Walmart.
Right. And they take good care of their stuff.
Yes. And look at the size of the houses I'm doing, eh? It's crazy. It is just shocking. I mean, we got houses, and we got whole neighborhoods where the cheapest house in the neighborhood would be $1 million. So that does give me an advantage of being in a market where they're not focused on price point marketing. I mean, yeah, there still is the coupon guy around. What's his Pro Steam? Yeah, he's still advertising. It's weird, because they've been around for actually a couple of years longer than me, and they're still pricing almost exactly the same pricing that they advertised 26 years ago. I don't understand why they're doing that. They don't have to do that. It's really silly. But anyway, that's their thing. So when
they're still in business, so.
Well, yeah, but he has to constantly push to keep his volume up. But here's an interesting thing. I was thinking about this the other day. Do you know how many vehicles he's got on the road? And he services both Kelowna, Vernon, and Penticton. Do you know how many vans he has running?
No idea.
2.
Wow.
Do you know how many vans he had running on the road 10 years ago? 2. What's wrong with this picture?
He doesn't really keep good staff, probably, because he probably has to retrain.
Well,
that's always a concern, right?
That is always a concern, but the
Not
thing
to
is,
make companies pay well enough
you would
to last
think
for a year or two.
you would think though that he would be getting enough repeat and referral business that he would have been able to have another vehicle or 2 on the road by now. And he is servicing not just Kelowna, but Penticton and Vernon. And here I am. I've actually had to stop servicing Penticton because it just wasn't worth my time going there. Plus, I was continually getting busier and busier in Kelowna. And then this last year, a year ago, I stopped servicing Vernon for the same reason. I'm just overwhelmed with work here in Kelowna. I turn work away. And by the way, this is my slow time.
I know, I still can't believe that. Like, I'm doing 3 jobs in one day for the last 3 weeks. I've worked 1 day a week. That's just because I stacked the 3 jobs all in the same day.
And I'm doing 3 jobs a day, 5 or 6 days a week, 3 or 4 jobs a day. Yeah. And this is my slow time.
Yeah, during COVID.
And when spring actually hits, what's going to happen is I will get booked out a month or 2 in advance. It's crazy. My problem has been for many years now, hasn't been getting work at all. It's actually, in fact, we turn work, and there's types of work that I won't even look at anymore. Like if someone calls and says, "We clean my RV," I say, "No, I'm not interested." Yeah. Do my restaurant? Nope, we don't do restaurants. There's commercial work that I won't even look at, and there's certain things that I just, because I don't need to and I don't want to. I want to. I'm at the point where I can choose the kind of customers that I actually want.
Yeah, that's kind of funny, because with the commercial work, I'm finally, after doing this for a year, I do a fair amount of commercial work. I'm finally getting the results I want, and charging the price I want and efficiency I want. But I don't want to do it. I don't want to work in the evenings.
No,
on Saturdays.
No. I get it. Because when I started way back when, one of my goals was I didn't want to work weekends and I didn't want to work evenings. And so if anyone calls me up and they got a job, commercial job, and you got to do it in the evening, I'll just say, no, not interested. I don't need to, and I don't want to. Why do I want to work in the evening when I'm full-time booked every single day? I got to focus on, and here's a really important lesson. Focus on where the actual money is.
Yeah.
That has been one of the most important things that I've learned. To be successful in this business is focus on what your strength is and what part of the market you really want. If you really want the month-end move-in and move-outs, well, okay, focus on that and build your business with that, that focus or whatever. But if that's not what you want to do, then you need to focus on another aspect of the business. And my focus has been really to go after the high-end market, because I would rather work less and earn more. And that's worked for us. I don't know that would work for everybody in every market, but that's what works for us here. I don't know that it would work in your market, but on the other hand, you do have a big advantage. I was going to ask you again, what's the population you figure in
I was going to look it up because I told you last time about 30 to 40,000, but I could be way off by 10,000. It could be more than that.
Oh.
In the the three cities, three little towns.
Three little towns. What are the Salmon Arm and
Blind Bay, Sorrento, and Sycamores.
So,
I can Google it if you want.
but you're the only low moisture guy there.
Yeah.
That is what you push, and that's what you sell. That's the key for you, because you will find that there are lots of people out there are going to go, you know what, I don't want to have my carpet getting soaking, because that's what I hear all the time from my customers. I'm sick and tired of having my carpet soaking wet, and it got dirty faster afterwards. I'm looking for something better. I want to know about what you're doing, and if you go out, if people really understand that's what you're doing and you market that, you will find that if you go into a home and you're doing the carpet, that one of the things people will start to say to you is, yeah, I wanted to try you out, and I got 3 or 4 other friends who were wanting to see how it does because they were wanting to try you out too. Like it has a cumulative effect.
Yeah.
You know, it really does work, but you have to, in order to get that kind of marketing happening, you do have to emphasize that you're not steam cleaning. You have to make sure they understand, here's the difference, here's why you want to call me. You have to market method.
And you got to find the clientele that is going to buy into that, that they understand it, they're tired of the other method,
Yep.
or they're not happy with the results they're getting, or whatever. And that's your new customer base.
Yes.
And you can't just, like for me, it doesn't bother me now when I don't get a job. I don't think about it twice. Whereas before, I had to get every job I could. I was proud of the fact that I would only lose two or three jobs a year, you know, based on the quote I gave them. And I prided myself on my great salesmanship. What a joke.
$3 less.
I don't know. Just being too cheap.
Am I turning left up here? Or next?
Not yeah, go through the lights.
Okay. All right. Well, we're almost where we're at, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, that was that's some of our brilliant thoughts and words of wisdom, and the peanut gallery was speaking again. So anyway, I guess we'll let everybody go. Thanks for coming along for a ride with us, and hopefully that was interesting, helpful, and maybe even a little bit entertaining. And I guess we'll let her go. You want to hit the stop button on the red thing?